Hey, it's Candice Quinn from the Contract Hack, and today we're talking about the interview question that makes everyone want to crawl under the desk and hide. What are your weaknesses? Look, I get it. I spent 3 years in law school, passed the bar, and now I'm supposed to admit that I have weaknesses? I'm not perfect? Oh my gosh, that's news to me. Just kidding. This question feels like a trap, and honestly, it kind of is a trap, right? But here's the thing, everyone knows the game. The interviewer sitting across from you, they've heard, I'm a perfectionist, so many times. I mean, that's the canned answer. If you Google it, that's what it'll tell you to say. That answer does not make you sound humble. They make you sound like you Googled interview questions and answers before the interview. So today, I'm gonna give you 5 canned answers that actually work to answer this question. These are honest, strategic, and will make you sound like a real human being who has self-awareness and a growth mindset. You know, the kind of attorney that people want to work with. Weakness number 1, the delegation struggle. I used to struggle with delegation because I wanted to ensure quality, but I've learned that trusting my team and providing clear instructions actually improves outcomes. Here's why this works. Every attorney, and I mean every attorney, struggles with delegation or has struggled with it. We're trained to be paranoid and triple check everything. So it's really hard to hand something off to another person, whether an admin or another attorney, and actually trust that they are going to do it the same way you do it. But in the real world, you actually can't review everything, and everybody's not going to do it the same way you do it, and that doesn't mean that it's wrong. You need to show that you've learned to manage people without being a bottleneck. Everything does not need to come across your desk before it can move anywhere else, internally or externally. When you answer this question, you can even give some examples. For instance, I now create checklists for my junior attorneys and paralegals to follow so that I know they are focused on the same top issues that I am focused on. They've actually been able to catch things I've missed, so it's made our overall work product even stronger. See how that works? You turned a weakness into a positive, but you weren't fake. Weakness number 2, the bandwidth issue. Early in my career, I had trouble saying no to assignments, which led to diminished work product. Now I'm more strategic about my bandwidth, and I communicate realistic timeframes up front. It's made me a more reliable and respectable attorney overall. Oh man, this is the weakness for new and mid-level attorneys. You want to prove yourself. You want to be the go-to person. So you end up saying yes to everything, but then you end up working until 2 a.m. and everything feels like a dumpster fire and you wonder why. So this answer is gold because it shows that you have enough self-reflection to know that you can't do everything and do it well. You've learned, and you're not going to be the person who overpromises and underdelivers. Interviewers love this because they've all worked with that person whose work product always kind of fell flat because they were just doing too much. The key phrase here is communicate realistic timeframes up front. That shows that you're not saying no to work, you're just managing expectations. That's a big difference. Weakness number 3, the detail versus the big picture trap. I am naturally detail oriented, which is great for contract review, but I've had to consciously develop my ability to see the big picture and advise on business implications. This one is especially good for transactional attorneys, in-house counsel, or anyone moving from law firm to corporate. Here's the reality. Being detail-oriented is literally in the job description for attorneys. But if all you do is redline commas and indemnification clauses, you're not providing any strategic business advice. You're effectively just a very expensive proofreader. Clients, especially in-house, they need you to see the big picture, to understand their strategic goals and how what you're working on fits into those goals. They need you to say, yes, this clause is problematic, but here's the commercial risk we're actually trying to avoid. And here's what I recommend. This answer works because it acknowledges a trade-off. Details matter in law, but you can't be so detailed that you only see the trees and not the forest. Answering the question this way shows that you get that already and that you've already developed that skill. If you want to add specifics, you could even say something like, I now make a point to ask about the business specifics when I take on a new project so that I clearly understand the company goals and priorities while I'm doing my legal review. Boom. You just went from lawyer to trusted advisor, and that's the goal. Weakness number 4, the conflict avoidance. I used to avoid hard conversations with clients or colleagues, but I've learned that addressing issues directly and earlier prevents bigger problems down the line. Let me tell you something. Lawyers are typically just terrible at this. Terrible. We'll argue in court, we'll negotiate multi-million-dollar deals, but ask us to address like a conflict between people and we just like flutter and fall apart. We melt. But Avoiding those conversations doesn't make the problem go away. It actually makes them worse. This answer is so powerful because it shows emotional intelligence. You're admitting you're human, that you don't love conflict, but that you know how to address it and resolve it anyway. Interviewers will eat this up, especially for in-house roles where you are going to interact with lots of parts of the business and lots of people and inevitably have to deal with conflicts with other people. So instead of having the interviewer think that you have no idea how to deal with people and resolve conflicts, you now have the interviewer understanding that you can talk with someone and not be seen as the department of no or the blocking department. You are actually seen as the solution department, and that is magical. Weakness number 5, the business development gap. I'm still developing my business development skills. I'm excellent at client service and retention, but I'm working on being more proactive about networking and bringing in new relationships. This one is just chef's kiss for a junior to mid-level attorney, especially if you're interviewing at a law firm. Here's the way it works. No one expects a third year to have a book of business, but they do want you to know that becoming a partner means more than just doing good work. Since you are going to need to bring in clients, telling them that you're still working on developing that shows both that you know you have to do that and that you are intentionally trying to improve your skills in that area and working on it. You're telling them that you're on the journey, and you're also telling them that you know there are things you are good at, like client retention and customer service. So you're showing that you do have the relationship skills and can become a good rainmaker, but you just need to work on the actual rainmaking part. It also shows that you're forward-looking. You aren't just focused on today. You are looking at building your career and being strategic for a few years down the road. You could also add, I've started attending industry events and having coffee meetings with people in adjacent fields. I'm learning that business development is really about building relationships, not just asking people for work. It's perfect, it's honest, it's strategic, it's just initiative. It's a great answer. Okay, so the formula of how to use these. Those are your 5 canned answers, but you do need the formula of how to actually use them appropriately. So you wanna start with the ownership, really own it, identify the weakness, and just own it. Don't say like some people might say, or occasionally just say like, I'm bad at rainmaking. I can't close the deal. Step number 2 is then show what you've done about it. This is where you want to focus on showing that growth mindset. What are you doing to fix your weakness? And step number 3, demonstrate your current competence. So show where you currently are at with this weakness and how you've made improvement from where you started to where you are now. So that's it. Weakness, growth, current. If you follow that formula, you can turn any weakness into a strength and have a great interview answer. Everyone knows you're dodging the question if you say you're a perfectionist or I work too hard. If you say you have no weaknesses, you sound like a sociopath because everyone does. And never give a weakness that's an actual deal breaker of the job you're interviewing for. For example, if you are interviewing to be a litigator, don't say you hate public speaking. If you're going in-house, don't say you struggle with business relationships. And don't trauma dump. This is not therapy. Keep your answer professional. I struggled with delegation. That's good. My toxic law firm destroyed my mental health. That's not good. No, that's trauma dumping. And finally, don't make it too polished. Don't make it sound like you're reading from a script. I mean, we all know you kind of are reading from a script, especially if you're interviewing a lot, but make it seem really candid and conversational. All right, so those are your 5 answers to what are your weaknesses. Use them, adopt them, and get comfortable saying them like a normal person. You want to be self-aware, learn from experience, and have a growth mindset. In other words, you want to be someone that other people want to work with. And if you can come across that way in the interview, even while answering what are your weaknesses, then you are probably, I'm not going to say definitely, probably going to get the job or at least advance to the next round. And if you're actively interviewing now, go ahead and download my free lateral move decision matrix where I help you hack whether or not to make the move to another firm or in-house role or not. And if you just want some strategic advice with respect to your career path and your goals in your career, go ahead and schedule a free call with me. The links for either are in the pinned comment and the description below. Bye for now, hackers.